So welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with Tanzi and Michelle. So Tanzi has agreed to drop in and partner with me on some of these podcasts. And then Rocco and I will be back as well. And then we'll also have some guests in. So welcome, Tanzi, because Tanzi was in the podcast, back when we started. It had been over a year ago. Over a year ago. So I'm so looking forward to this. So the topic that we landed on for this one is the power of never giving up. And I'm going to start with a quote, Nelson Mandela. So it's an appropriate one. And then there's another one we want to weave into that Tanzi and I really liked. So this one is, it always seems impossible until it's done. And so when you and I, Tanzi, were talking about the different aspects of this, a lot of it is, we talked about goals and the fact that of staying the course, and there's so many distractions that happen. There's so many distractions in the path that we go on, set ourselves for what we aspire to be. And so that value and that power in never giving up is the fact that literally you've got to pick yourself back up again when you get knocked down or things get wonky or you get derailed at some point. But the reality of it is, if we don't do that, then we're never going to achieve what we set out to achieve. I mean, I look at you, of where you're at and what you're doing and the stuff that got in your way. So anyway, I love this topic. And I think it's a lot, and it takes grit and courage. Or as your dad used to say, persistence, right?
Persistence.
Yes. So what's on your mind about this one?
The power of never giving up. Let me think about this for a moment. When I think about myself and my own personal journey in leadership, I feel like there were a lot of opportunities to just kind of give up. A lot of barriers I had to overcome, a lot of challenges, but I feel like I didn't want to give up. I had a goal and I was determined to get there any way that I could. And those times that I felt down and out, I took time to recover, whatever that looked like. And I just got back up and I continued the process.
What is so what comes to mind for me, right, is when I think about my career, and it's so funny because when you and I talked, it's like you knew where you wanted to go. You knew ultimately what your goal was. I didn't ever do that, right? And so it's not like I want until now, right? I didn't have a clear path on this thing that I wanted to go. But I never gave up on the next door that opened, right? But when I think about you and your path that you have, there's such a conviction there to ready yourself on what that looks like to get to the next level. But to your point, you do get derailed at times, and you do get, maybe the path isn't as clear. How do you ready yourself or reset yourself or whatever that looks like to be able to go, okay, we're doing this again?
Oh my gosh, I'm not sure I really know. It just kind of happens. Let me think about a time where I felt derailed. I feel like I had one role where I felt derailed often. But I think I found the strength, the courage, and the power to keep moving in the team that I supported. I think that I relied on serving my team, and the energy and the feeling that I got from that actually was the strength that I needed to stand up again and keep going. So I think when thinking about how to answer your question, I think really it came from serving others. The joy and strength that I got from that was really the key to continuous improvement and continued fortitude to move forward.
Yeah, fortitude is a really good word. What came to mind for me too when you were talking was the role that you're in now, right? At is it Valley Presbyterian?
Yes.
Okay. The role that you're in now is the role to step into, eventually, because you aspire to be chief nurse officer, chief nurse exec, right, of a hospital. And what comes to mind for me is how many interviews, and people can probably relate to this, how many times did you interview for that kind of a role, for how long, to be told, no, not now?
Oh my God, countless times, I think. I think you just have to kind of keep going. You just kind of have to keep filtering,
Yeah.
is what I learned along this journey. The no's are the places where it's not the place for you. The yes will be the place where you belong. Is kind of how I've chosen to look at it.
Yeah.
And there was learnings in all the no's.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those places where I interviewed, I thought, wow, this is perfect. But in reality, it wasn't the perfect fit. In reality, the yes that I got was the perfect fit.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lesson in the no's,
Mm-hmm.
as well as a lesson in the yeses. So you just
Yeah.
have to keep going. You have to keep sorting through until you find your yes.
And it can be freaking frustrating. I look back at, I know when I left Sutter Health, I was applying for roles, after in other organizations at first, and I wasn't getting opportunities. And it can be discouraging. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm qualified. What is happening here? And I think that's where for me, I had to reset and go, okay, to your point, this is not the one. It's not that I'm lacking or whatever, but this isn't the one for me. There's one other quote I want to do, because I think it fits into just the path that you took and some of the decisions you make in your career as you've been going through. People are like, you're nuts. What are you doing right now?
I've had some of those responses.
Yeah. So this one is, and it was around, basically, staying the course and never giving up. It says, at first they'll ask you why you're doing it, but later they'll ask you how you did it. And I can't help but think, and I was on one of those ends of going, are you sure? this is what you want to, and you're like, yes, definitely. Can you say more about some of that?
Yes, that's funny. It's a funny subject, because I feel like I've encountered that question quite a few times as it relates to some of my decision making. I remember a time where I left an organization that I felt really connected to, and had been there for a while. And I joined a different organization that it felt like it was the right decision for me all the way around, at total peace with the decision. However, for some of those that I was affiliated with, some of the responses I got was less than excited. It was more, it was like definitely less than excited.
You're freaking nuts and you've lost your mind. And
exactly. In fact, I think my supervisor may have laughed at me and was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm absolutely serious." But I think what led to those decisions is my ability to see obstacles as opportunities. And so that's why I took that role. I was so excited about all the challenges in the organization and all the opportunities to work on fixing things, because I love to fix things. And so that right there is what led to the decision to take that role. And it's been the best decision that I've ever made. Yeah. I think that it's really helped me grow. It's helped me grow. It's helped me expand my mind. I think I learned so much from that role. And I think it's definitely one of the key reasons I'm here today. Yeah,
it's interesting, Tanzi, when I think back, because obviously you and I have known each other for at least 10 years, is that decision that you went from one healthcare organization to another. You went to a hospital that was not doing well at all, right? As far as patient outcomes and culture and all that quality. And I look at when you talk about never giving up and the power of that.
Yeah.
There was so much adversity when you stepped into that new role that, yes, you're super tenacious. You're gonna stay after and stay the course. You put the patient and the people that are on your team at the center of what you do and why you do it. And it took you more than a minute to impact change in an organization. But I mean, when we talk about the power of never giving up, you embodied that with literally every day that you got up and went back to work to do it again, because you were up at first year, you were up against so much resistance that I think if you hadn't stayed the course, they would have still been back where they were before you started.
Yeah, it's true. I remember, I think it took me about a year and a half, myself and team, really to really begin to see kind of the ship turn.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, several weeks into that new role, I thought, oh my goodness, did I make the right decision? And I had to snap out of it because I absolutely made the right decision. And I had to dig deep to find the strength and tenacity to keep going. Sometimes when you come up against resistance, it's a signal that you're doing the right thing. And so you have to stay the course. You have to stay the course. And I had to make a decision that I'm going to stay and we're going to fix this. And I'm not going to be, convinced to leave or driven out, because we're going to fix this. There's a lot at risk here. Our patients are at risk. Our staff are at risk. There's a lot on the line. And so I think at that time, I was the right person to be there to help lead the team to get to where we are today. So
yeah,
stay the course.
When I think about this topic now, right, and it wasn't when we first talked about it, you epitomize this whole idea of never giving up in that role that you had, because any moment you could have gone somewhere else. But I think with stuff like that, to your point, when it's the right stuff to do, you do find the courage and the strength and the perseverance to keep going, because there were little glimmers of light that as you went through, because I remember talking to you through that, that it was like, we had a little bit of a gain today, and it was just powerful stuff, because you make a difference when you never give up. You make a difference and you impact people's lives and patient care. And so, yeah, it's powerful stuff. So thank you. I've enjoyed this time and this topic. And it brought me back to literally that 2.5 year period of your career. Was it 2.5, 3 years, whatever, before that? I'm like, oh my God, it was literally another episode of Turn the Ship Around. Like the Titanic, that finally, that you get it going to a certain point and off it goes. So thank you for chatting. I appreciate this. What is 1 or 2 things that you would love people to walk away with?
1 or 2 things that I would love people to walk away with. Never doubt yourself. If you have a dream, pursue it. Be tenacious, go after it, and never give up.
Thank you. I think the thing that comes to mind for me, because I was in the wings as you were going through that journey of never giving up, is don't think that in that process of never giving up, it's just all about the only resource that you have is you. There are other people that you need to tap into basically people talk about your personal board or who's on your board or who's in your tribe, whatever that looks like. Connect with those people, especially when you're talking about when it's so freaking difficult and they're rising up and they're pushing you down. Who is your resource to where you can go to and bounce stuff off of, be a thought partner, basically check for sanity at some level.
Yes.
But I think that's the recommendation is this is not a journey that you make alone when it gets really freaking tough. So I think that's the part for me is, who's on your support team, that and tap into them. So
I like that. I like that a lot because you know what? In reality, we are never alone.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So don't think it's a one-man job, but even though that you're the one in the front leading the way, who else are you tapping into? Who's got you? Who's your, wingman or whatever that may be? So thank you. I really appreciate this time. And so this has been Leadership Soundbites. Please like, share, subscribe. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you.